I was just meditating and I realized that ayahuasca had given me superpowers. And what I mean by superpowers is actually probably just my natural God-given gifts that I was not aware of, that addiction was blocking. And there's like a few ways that ayahuasca really, I want to say, unlocked these superpowers. The first way is neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity, for those of you who don't know, is the brain's ability to regenerate, recalibrate, and restore its sensitivity to dopamine, its ability to create new neural pathways that form new ways of thinking, new creative ways of thinking, and new ways of problem solving, which in turn allows this path for new behavior to unfold. And like I feel like I was blessed with a lot of different talents, and I gained a lot of skills throughout my life, lived a lot of different lifetimes within this lifetime, but it was like when I really started to detox from the addiction. So ayahuasca helped me to start practicing abstinence, abstinence with things that create dopamine stimulation, dopamine production, especially in the realm of artificial stimuli. What is that word? Supernormal stimuli, which is like artificial stimuli that is more potent than regular natural stimuli. So for example, processed foods, processed sugars, processed oils, processed salts, porn, social media, like stimuli that's not natural from like the natural realm. Stimuli that's kind of like man-made stimuli is this realm of supernormal stimuli, also known as artificial stimuli, which has been known to produce a lot more dopamine than what natural forms of stimuli produce. So for example, achieving a goal produces natural stimuli. Healthy food, all eating releases dopamine, right? So we get some kind of dopamine release. But when it comes to like the artificial food, artificial stimuli, like especially processed sugars, processed foods, the processed seed oils and all of those packaged goods, they produce a lot more dopamine than something natural. And it creates a desensitization within our brain. So we become more and more desensitized to this dopamine. Dopamine is what gives us a sense of satisfaction, sense of pleasure. It's the thing we become so easily addicted to. And dopamine is the brain's way of enforcing basically behavior patterns that will help our survival and reproduction. So eating, drinking, sex in its natural form, all natural, sacred form, it produces dopamine. But it's been so tampered with and so manipulated by the hands of man. So now we have artificial sex and stimuli in the form of porn, which produces a lot more dopamine, and the novelty that we're able to experience through that fake stimuli, not an actual human being connection. Same with the sugar, the high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners. They produce this overload of dopamine, and our brains become desensitized to this mechanism that's creating satisfaction and pleasure which is designed by nature for us to repeat behavior that ensures our survival. So when that becomes our replacement for our attachment to real love, because we never got it when we were young, we never got it when we were neglected and abused, we never got it in our secure household, a secure household, we never got it in a dysfunctional home. Dopamine becomes our easiest and most quickest pain reliever. It becomes our pain reliever, it becomes our escape from the pain, and it creates the pleasure and satisfaction to numb the pain. And it becomes a replacement of what is supposed to be a healthy attachment and secure attachment to real love. So this dopamine, this false sense of security and safety in this false sense of love, becomes attached to this supernormal stimuli. So going back to the ayahuasca, with the fasting that I've mentioned in my first video of this series, the neuroplasticity that is induced through abstinence, allowing the brain to detox, allowing our mind to detox from all this dopamine stimuli, this artificial dopamine stimuli, or even excessive dopamine. What it did was it somehow unlocked gifts I never knew I had. It unlocked skills I never knew I had. My ability to learn, my ability to absorb information, my ability to retain information, my ability to even think creatively, it just unlocked some other aspect of me that I never knew. And through this, there were certain things about dreams I've had, and when I'm talking about dreams, I'm not just talking about the dreams when I go to sleep. I'm talking about dreams I've had for my life. For over 10 years now, I've had certain dreams that I wanted to do with my life for, maybe about 15 years now. And it unlocked certain gifts that I never knew I had, that I realize now is playing a role in manifesting this dream. I realized that these are soul gifts that I've had, and ayahuasca has somehow moved out of the way what was in the way, and unlocked this ability for me to express soul gifts I never realized I had. One of them is communicating, and I'm not saying I'm the best communicator, but I'm talking about from where I was in communication prior to this whole healing journey. Maybe it's been about a 10-year healing journey for me now. But prior to this 10-year healing journey, my ability to communicate, and specifically through my journey of ayahuasca, my ability to communicate has sharpened exponentially. And still, I don't even consider myself like a great speaker, but compared to what I was before all of this has happened, my ability to speak has changed into from night and day. It's changed completely. One example is, I remember specifically this one retreat that I went to. The first night we had shared our prior experience up until that point with ayahuasca, a little bit about ourselves, what we wanted to do, and we all gathered in the circle before ceremony. We were talking stories, sharing about ourselves with each other. And I remember, I never really felt comfortable sharing about myself. I never really felt comfortable talking about my story or about my life, or even just speaking to groups of people in general, speaking, even public speaking. And I'd always get a little bit of butterflies, feel a little nervous, not really feel comfortable speaking about really deep, vulnerable things about myself. And I guess people can kind of notice that, they could notice that. Like, you can kind of notice it when people are speaking to a group of people and you can tell that they're a little bit nervous, they fidget a little bit, they don't seem that confident. Well, at least I noticed this in people, and I noticed it in myself up until this point. And I remember that ceremony, I just was like feeling so sick and so ill in the beginning of that ceremony that night. And I remember having to go to the bathroom like so bad, but I was so ill, I was so disoriented, so discombobulated. I remember asking for assistance from one of the assistants for help, asking them if they could help me go to the bathroom. And I remember they helped me up, and I'm like full on like holding on to them, and they're like holding on to me. I'm like stumbling, like barely able to walk, almost like a drunk, just like a complete drunk, walking to the bathroom. I just felt so disoriented, so sick and so ill, just like so nauseous. And then I went to the bathroom. I remember going to the bathroom, and it was like I just suddenly woke up. Like a part of me just woke up. I remember walking out of that bathroom, and the assistant was there looking at me, was like, "You all good?" And I remember just standing up completely straight and completely sober. I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm good." And he was like, "Oh shit, you just needed to let that go, huh?" And I was like, "I guess so." And I remember I just started walking back to the Moloko with him, just like completely centered and completely like awoken to this part of me, and having a just complete enlightening conversation with him back to the Moloko. And I remember after that, the next day, before next ceremony, there's new people that are coming for that ceremony, and it was time for me to share. I remember this was a distinct change in my ability to speak to people, to groups of people, just like that. It was, and I'm not saying that, again, I'm the best speaker ever, but from where I was to that point, I felt comfortable all of a sudden. Like I wasn't so fidgety, I wasn't so nervous, I don't really get the butterflies. In fact, there's a part of me that almost enjoys it and looks forward to speaking to groups of people now, which is absolutely weird. But I remember sharing with that group the next day before our next ceremony, sharing about my experience. And I remember having a completely different mannerism. I remember feeling completely centered, and I remember even like feeling so comfortable making eye contact with everybody while I was telling my story. And something had shifted, even to the point where I noticed one of my friends who has been on that same journey, this journey for a while with ayahuasca. I remember it was the first time I had shared that part of my story, a deeper part of my story of what I've been through from a past of just being so reckless and running from the cops for fun and all this kind of stuff, to where I am now. I remember telling that story, and I remember him looking at me for the first time, and like almost kind of like it hit him. I could tell in his eyes like my story finally hit him, and he kind of understood what the hell I just been going through. And then from that point on, I noticed my ability to speak to people has changed. I noticed my ability, even when I had prayed in groups, prayed over my family, prayed for grace at dinner gatherings, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, or just praying in general with groups of people, that had significantly changed as well. Like my ability to speak vulnerably with groups of people had changed. Like it was like that overnight. I'm not saying that I'm on it every single time when it comes to speak, because I do notice like my rest affects it, how how exhausted I am, particularly how rejuvenated and recharged I am. All of these things, my heart rate variability, where I'm at in my recovery as far as just weekly duties and tasks, that plays a part into my ability to speak super clearly and channel as clear as possible. But generally speaking, I do notice after that had happened, like my ability to speak had changed significantly. And through this whole neuroplasticity, my brain being able to restore itself, recalibrate itself, create more and more neural pathways for new ways of thinking, new ways to conceive, new ways to perceive, and new ways to receive information, has changed dramatically to the point where there's some other gifts and skills that have come online since then that I had no idea would play a major factor in this dream that I have to create. So I want to say that ayahuasca unlocked some superpowers, and in actuality, what I mean by superpowers is just natural abilities of my soul. And I think we all have natural abilities of our own soul that are superpowers because they're unique to your soul. Like this skill and these gifts are unique to my soul, and the skills and gifts that are unique to your soul is your superpower. But I noticed significantly that ayahuasca played a major factor in unlocking this connection with my soul and the gifts that were hidden in my soul. And addiction was like the biggest barrier and blocker of this gift. And what I also noticed though is when a gift is unlocked, there's also a new level of responsibility for yourself, for your life, and for the purpose of this gift. Because the gift is, although it's given to me, although your soul gift is given to you, the real gift is actually supposed to be in service of humanity, in service of the world, in service of earth, in service of life. Our true gift is supposed to be life-giving. It's not for us. So as much as like some people, and I'm guilty of this at one point, when I had unlocked certain gifts and skills, it puffed up my ego, but only to realize that it wasn't for my personal gain. And I learned the hard way because I was somewhat using certain gifts. I'm not talking about this gift, but in the past, just in my life, as I had gained new skills, gained new abilities to create in this world, once upon a time, I was using it just for my benefit to make myself feel safe and secure and ensure my survival. But through ayahuasca and this whole journey of healing and beyond ayahuasca, unlocking this gift, I've learned that there's so much responsibility that comes with the gift, and the gift is truly for the whole of life. It's for the service of life. And so with it comes great responsibility. So unless we're willing to take that responsibility as well, I don't think the gift will truly unlock. So for me, I think it was one of those points as well as how long I've been on the journey, that I was already taking responsibility for my life. I was already taking responsibility for my chop wood, carry water, day in, day out, physical responsibilities, my own place in this world and what I'm supposed to do here each day. The more I started to own it and grab it by the horns, the more this gift started to unlock. And the more the gift started to unlock, the more I started to understand where exactly within life, my life, this gift is supposed to serve. And so currently, you're getting a part of what this gift is supposed to serve. It's supposed to share a lot of the wisdom that I have gathered through this insane journey of living multiple lifetimes in this life. And again, as of right now, it's to help people get free. It's help you get free. It's help you understand addictions. And I'm not saying you have to do ayahuasca, but I am giving you some gems that you can dig into without even doing ayahuasca. So neuroplasticity, abstinence, you can dive into all of these practices with your daily practices without even doing ayahuasca. You can practice abstinence. You can practice detoxing from supernormal dopamine stimuli, which is the artificial stimulus, and get as close to nature as you can, because you are nature. We are nature. The closer we get to nature, the closer we get to the truth. And a lot of people want to make this separation and division between the natural and the supernatural. But to be honest, it's all one and the same. It's all part of the same thing. It's two sides of the same coin. So really, when I talk about superpowers, when I talk about the supernatural, it's really our inherent soul power. It's really what is natural. I'm not separating the two, because the supernatural combined with the natural is natural. Superpowers in regards to your own soul gifts is your God-given power. It's not even super. I mean, it is in the context that society and culture has not awoken to their power. It does seem like a superpower, but it's actually within everyone. It's within you. You have your own God-given superpower. In fact, I'll give you a bonus right here today. If you want to meditate on a direction that you might want to head that may unlock a superpower, I'm not even saying that this will be the key that unlocks all your gifts, but one thing that can help is another thing, your Eulerian destiny. Your Eulerian destiny, I forget who developed it, but it's a basic exercise. You draw 4 circles that interlap on a piece of paper, right? So 4 interlapping circles, and they all kind of interlap. In the first circle, what you're gonna write is what you grew up around. Just what you grew up around. And in the second circle, what you're gonna write is what you've gained experience in the past 10 years. What you've gained at least 10 years of experience in. And it may not even be like the primary skill of your profession. It may be a side skill, like learning how to talk to a certain demographic of people, or learning this one task that you've had in that job that is not even your primary task, but it gave you this certain skill. It could be like something that you've gained experience in over 10 years. In the third circle, what you want to write is what you can talk about effortlessly. Like you can talk about this endlessly. You can talk about it for hours and days and months and years, just because it's just something you love talking about. And in the fourth circle, what you want to write down is what even people who don't like you say you're good at. What strangers tell you you're good at. What multiple strangers compliment you on, like something that you just have a knack for. So within these 4 quadrants of circles, there is an overlap into some part of your mission, some part of your God-given purpose, at least for a season, maybe even this coming season, that your soul gifts are actually meant to fill. So this Eulerian destiny is just something you should meditate on. It's something you can meditate on, and it will give you an idea, or at least some kind of triangulation of your purpose. One of your purposes, may not be all of your purposes. So for example, in my case, I did this 15 years ago, and this is how I ended up becoming a tattoo artist. And as my gifts unlocked and changed, my profession started shifting toward a holistic art therapist, and it's just continuing to shift. And the more my soul unlocks, the more wisdom I acquire, the more experience I gain, the more skills I gain, I notice that my Eulerian destiny is slowly shifting more and more to that big dream that I've had for a very, very long time. And try that. Your Eulerian destiny is not something that you'll just normally figure out just like that. It takes some meditating on. It takes some soul searching. It takes some reflecting. And also, from my own personal experience, from abstaining from these addictions, from these overdosing of dopamine, this over stimulation from the supernormal stimuli, the artificial stimuli, I find this will actually open up the doors for your soul gifts to really start coming through. Because all of this addiction, all of this supernormal stimuli, it's actually a distraction. It's actually us losing power. We're actually hemorrhaging our power, our life force. We're being distracted. We're throwing away our attention, our focus. It's all being dispersed. It's all being diffused. So our light, like if you were to look at our superpower, our soul gift, as like a laser beam that, you know, can literally create, like be used as a weapon of mass creation. If you were to look at your light, your soul gift, as a laser that could be used as a weapon of mass creation, the distractions, the addictions, all of this losing our power, our life force to things that aren't actually serving us, it's like it's diffusing our light, so that laser becomes just like scattered, and it doesn't become so effective. You know, the light isn't so strong. But when, you know, our words, our thoughts, our actions, our feelings, our attention, our focus, our purpose, when they all come together like a laser, I find that there's just so much power that you can strategically put in the world that will help humanity, that will help all of life. There's just something about your light and your chi, your life force being harnessed and condensed and being used for what you were designed for, that has the most impact on the world. It has the most impact on everyone around you. It has the most impact on life in general. But that's a bonus that you can try meditating on. is your Eulerian destiny. Other than that, I want to say ayahuasca had definitely unlocked some superpowers. But I will say it wasn't ayahuasca alone, because like I said, chop wood, carry water. What happens in the day-to-day aspect of our life, our foundation principles, the non-negotiables, the things we say no to in our day-to-day life, like who we're going to surround ourselves with, what we're going to put in our body, what we're going to say no to, what boundaries we're going to upkeep, or what new boundaries we're going to set that allows us to detox from the dopamine, that allows us to create new, healthy, meaningful relationships, that allows us to start creating distance between the things that harm us. Like, that stuff is still gonna be fulfilled in our day-to-day practice, the non-negotiable practices, our diet, our lifestyle. So you can't forget how important every moment is, and how important our choices are in the moment. Every choice is a power to create or to destroy. It's a power to get in alignment or to get misaligned. And this is not to be taken like so rigidly, because there is a rhythm to life, there is a flow to life, there's an ebb and flow. But are you ebb and flowing more in the direction of distraction? Are you ebb and flowing more in the direction of creation and purpose? This is how I make my thumbnails, guys.